Today we're going to talk about Machilipatnam Saint Mary Church. While the Taj Mahal is known as symbol of love, for the people of Machilipatnam, Saint Mary Church holds the same significance, often called as Taj Mahal of South India. This church stands as an magnificent love story that unfolds in 18th century. From 18th century, India saw British colonial rule expand as an East Indian Company gained control over key regions. Machilipatnam, a vibrant port town on India's southeastern coast, played a crucial role in colonial trade, known for its kalamkari textiles and noisy roads. Here British officers held a significant weight, balancing cooperation with local leaders and assisting local authorities. This complex setting of cultural exchange and tension became the backdrop of story of love and loss like Arbella's. This is story of Arbella, a tale of love, loss, and timeless remembrance that reaches back over 200 years to the era of British colonial rule in India. So as to know about this story, we have to go back 200 years. Arbella was the cherished daughter of Robinson, a British officer stationed in Machilipatnam during 18th century. Growing up in life of privilege, Arabella enjoyed the protection, status, and resources that came with her father's position in British colonial India. As an officer overseeing the noisy port town, Robinson held considerably influenced navigation of the colonial government and the local alliances. That status granted Arabella's access to the best education and exposure to arts, literature, and culture nurturing her curiosity and intellect. However, her privilege also bounded her to the rigid expectations and divisions of colonial society, shaping her fate in unexpected ways. However, it was a love story that crossed cultural and social divides that would ultimately shape her destiny.
Bella's first meeting with John Patton was a blend of curiosity and hesitation. She heard of him, his reputation as quiet, introspective man with a sharp mind preceded him. Yet when they finally met, he wasn't as imposing as she had expected. Instead, there was an understanding intensity in his eyes, hinting at both depth and restraint. Their early conversation was tentative, marked by brief exchanges and careful words. Arabella, the more outgoing of two, sensed John's reverse and found it intriguing. She tried to draw him out, noticing his guarded responses and the way he seemed both interested in her ideas and hesitant to reveal his own. He in turn seemed quietly captivated by her openness, yet reluctant to lower his defense. Gradually their bond grew not through and gestures but small movements at hurried understanding. John's dry humour surfaced slowly, catching Arabella off guard with its subtle wit, and she began to appreciate his unique perspective. She admired his calm, detached observations, which contrasted with her own passionate, impulsive nature. He, on the other hand, was drawn to her energy and unfiltered enthusiasm, finding that her warmth softened his edges and challenged the wall he had carefully built. Connection depended over shared conversations on books, art, and philosophy, which they enjoyed during quiet walks or in tucked away cafes. Silence often spoke louder than words between them, which John offered her a quick look of encouragement when she was lost in thoughts, and Arabella gently urged him to explore the sides of himself he kept hidden. Their growing bond became an anchor, blending her boldness with his steady calm. Together they found a quiet, enduring trust, one that didn't need declaration but instead thrived in steady, unspoken companionship they built piece by
Arabella's
piece.
separation from John was no accident, it was staged by her father, Robinson, who believed that a change in scenery and a continent's worth of distance would dissolve her feelings for him. He sent her to London, away from her life in Machilipatnam, hoping the allure of busy city and distraction of new environment would help her forget the man he deemed unworthy for her affection. London was vibrant, filled with elegancy and society fitness gathering, but none of it stirred Arabella's heart. She felt adrift, hunted by the life she left behind and the man she longed for. Each passing day only depended for her love of John, sharpening her loneliness into a longing that consumed her thoughts. She remembered his laughter, the warmth of his presence, an easy conversation they shared, every letter she wrote would, but could not send, every night spent looking at the same moon. Fate her resolve to return with him. Distance hadn't weakened her affection, it had intensified it, making her feel even more bound to him. Defying her father's wishes became inevitable. London charms could not compete with her desire to be with John, and the realization that she had rather been penniless by his side than live a luxury without him became and against her father's wishes and against society expectations. Arbella resolved to leave London to return to Machilipatnam and to find a way back the love that had defined her, determined to reclaim the happiness that only John could give her.
Arabella fell seriously ill after her arrival and passed away, leaving both John and her father in deep sorrow. After her arrival, Arabella's health begins to rapidly decline. This could be result of various factors. The effect on John, who might have Arabella's intended or a man of great importance in her life, would likely feel a deep sense of sorrow and helplessness as her condition was. This sorrow would be both personal as he loses the woman he loved and existential as he might feel the cruel hand of fate has stolen the future they had together. And the effect on her father. Her father too would be deeply affected by her passing. He feels guilt, helplessness, and profound loss. The death of a daughter is a sorrow that no parent, particularly one who may have had limited emotional or physical resources, would recover from easily. Rubilla's reunion with her father and her desire to John. In both the cases, the reunion with her father and her desire to John, Arbilla's emotions were tied to her larger ambition and the complex nature of familial ties. Her longing for connection with her father speaks to her deeper need for affection and validation, while her persist of marriage is an attempt to seize control over her own fate in a world where women's choices were often limited. Arbilla's journey back to Machilipatnam and her death. Arbilla, along with her husband, has been living in Machilipatnam, a coastal town in Andhra Pradesh. At some point, there was a need for Arbilla and her husband to return to England, either for personal or official reasons. During the journey back, Arbilla, who had been in poor health for some time, fell seriously ill. As Arbilla made her way back to England, her health deteriorated. Tragically, she died during the journey, an event that marked untimely end of her life. It is commonly believed that the challenges of the life, combined with tropical diseases at the time, contributed to her demise.
John, stricken with grief over Arabella's death, approached Robinson, possibly a guardian, relative, or a family member, to formally request her body. This had demonstrated John's profound devotion and his determination to honor Arabella's in death as he did in his life. His request might have been made with combination of heartfelt and formality, ensuring that Robinson understood the depth of his intentions. John, deeply mourning Arabella's death, he constructed a church as a sacred place to honor her memory. Inside the church, Arabella was placed in a glass coffin, a rare and gesture that allowed her to remain visibly present. Her body was treated with special embalming to preserve it. The church and its unique memorial likely became a local landmark, a place where John's love immortalized for generations. The very act of preserving her body in such a manner speaks volumes about her how he sees her. That to him is not the end, but a transaction into a something external. The preservation of her form could be symbolic of his briefly that love doesn't end with death. It's only transforming, becoming something permanent and everlasting. While a coffin symbolizes external love, the art of preserving her in such a carefully way might also reflect his grief and his need of closure. Perhaps this is his way of coping with the loss by keeping her near in the statement that feel almost alive, rather than letting go and facing the painful reality of her absence. Arabella Aten in the glass coffin was likely a carefully chosen symbol of her grace and the bond he shared with John. The parrot-shaped key that John created added a deeply personal and symbolic touch. Parrot known for their ability to mimic and form lasting bond connection between John and Arabella.
Arabella's resting place in Machilipatnam stands as a profound symbol of love and loss, a quiet testament to a bond that defied distance and endured unimaginable hardship. Her modest grave, nestled in the historical coastal town, speaks to the depth of her story, a story not just of tragedy but a devotion and before leaving for Chennai, John ensured Arabella's memory would live on, entrusting her resting place to care of local authorities. This simple yet meaningful act turned her grave into more than a final resting place. It became a symbol of enduring love and resilience. Over the years, their story has grown into a cherished local legend. It reminds us of the power of love and love that overcomes distance, survives loss, and inspires generations. Parabilla and John's bond has touched countless hearts, turning their personal tragedy into a beacon of hope and reminder of strength of the human spirit. Today, her resting place stands not just as a marker of life lived, but as a testament to love that transcends time. Today, her resting place stands not just as a marker of a life lived, but as a testament to the love that transcends time. Their story reminds us all that even in the face of loss, love has the power to inspire, to endure, and to live on in the hearts of those it touches.